everyone. It is Sunday night and we are live here at Bat City Comic Professionals in Bradenton, Florida to help you wind down your weekend. As always, I'm your host, Shannon, aka Small Press Shann, here to talk to you about all of this week's indie and small press comics. We can't do that unless we wine it down, though, so we, of course, have to have an awesome wine. Hopefully this is one of them. We have never tried this one at all, and I'm really excited because it's got this really cool cover. It's not a comic book. It's got this really cool label. And this is, okay, I already forgot how to say it. I just listened to it, and I already forgot. Ojo de Brut. How did we say it?
Tre.
The first part was the part I was worried about. Tre. Yes, Tre. Yes, it's the Eye of the Vulture. I'm really excited. It kind of reminds me of the art from Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees, and so that's why I picked it for today, because we're going to be talking about issue 5 of that in a little bit. But this is a Tempranillo, which means it's a Spanish wine, which is why I always struggle with the right way to say all of the names, which is sad because I did know how to speak Spanish at one point in my life, so I always feel really bad for how bad my Spanish has gotten now. But I'm excited. This is, I feel like it's going to be amazing. I can smell it from here, so I feel like this might be delicious, just because of how strong the smell is. But we're going to try it and see.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Delicious.
That's like very heavy flavor. Like, I don't know what the flavor, which fruit that flavor is, but when it doesn't even say, it's like figure it out. Like, it's kind of plummy, kind of blackberry. Like, could probably a combination of those, especially because it is a Tempranillo, so it's probably got both of those in there somewhere. Not as peppery as a lot of Tempranillos are, though. Like, doesn't have as much of the spicy kick, but it has just enough to complement that flavor. It's good. It's very smooth. Which, again, for a Tempranillo, I expect it to be so peppery that I kind of expect it to almost not be smooth. So it's really good that it is that smooth. I'm going to share this and let people know that we're talking about comics. Comics. All right, so we are going to talk about this week's comics. We're going to drink some more of this delicious wine. If you are winding down your weekend, let us know how you're doing that, what your excitement of the week was, all of the incredible books that you picked up. We want to hear all about it as much as possible, so drop that in the comments if you're watching live, or if you're watching this later on and you want to talk about books that you read this week, drop them in the comments, because we love to try to catch up with all those comments too and talk to you about what you're loving and what we're loving. So I'm going to slide this over. And we're going to talk about some awesome things. So before we get into what came out this week, we're going to talk about what's going on this week. So first and foremost, we got these really cool, amazing bookmarks from our friends at Mad Cave, because it is their 10-year anniversary. So they are celebrating. They actually just had a really cool post from a bunch of Mad Cave creators talking about all of the work that they've done over the last 10 years. And so this is their 10-year anniversary. We got these really cool bookmarks, and we got them because we are the first ever Mad Cave store of the month. So thank you, Mad Cave, for including us in your birthday celebration. We're so excited about that. It has been so much fun. We've got birthday party balloons and streamers hanging up all over the store, and a lot of incredibly cool things going on. So it's all part of Mad Cave's 10th anniversary, and that's so cool. I love to hear small press stories of just continuing on and growing over the years. So happy birthday, Mad Cave. I'm going to take a drink just for you. And you can pick up one of these bookmarks in the store for the rest of the month, or while supplies last, I should say. If you are picking up a trade paperback of any kind, you're most definitely going to get one of those from us. Because it's Mad Cave month here at Bat City, we have already been lucky enough to have some really great experiences. Like, I got to interview Steve Orlando. We got to have our Silver Vessels treasure hunt. Tomorrow, we are going to have a really cool day. We're usually closed on Mondays if you follow Bat City, but tomorrow we are opening up from like 4 to 6 p.m. just to celebrate Digital Lizards of Doom. I was told today if I would just start saying it in all of the excited voice of Digital Lizards of Doom, that everybody would want to come to tomorrow's event. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We are going to have Gabriel Valentine zooming in to talk all about Digital Lizards of Doom and then answer questions. So if you've got a kiddo who's always wanted to know what it's like to be a comic creator, what it's like to use your imagination and explore that and storytell, this is a great opportunity to come and talk to somebody who is doing it professionally and wants to talk to kids about the power of imagination. So they're going to do that. And then once we have finished with our exciting time with Gabriel and our question and answer session, we are also going to have some fun of our own. We're going to play some games. We're going to read parts of Digital Lizards of Doom, and we are going to make some crafts, and it is going to be a ton of fun. So it's 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon till, like I said, like 5:30, 6 o'clock, just however long kids are still playing with those crafts. And we're going to have some chances to win a couple of copies of Digital Lizards of Doom thanks to our friends at Mad Cave and their Kids Imprint paper cuts. I'm really excited. This book is amazing. If you want to entertain yourself and get prepared before tomorrow, go to their YouTube, the Digital Lizards of Doom YouTube, and watch an episode of Lava or Licorice, because it is such a fun puppet show featuring the characters from Digital Lizards of Doom. And parents, if you're just looking for a great, funny book that is great to share with your kids, this is a fun one to read together, because it does actually have it broken up by character in a really fun, like, choose your character adventure moment kind of thing. So check that out, Digital Lizards of Doom. Come see us tomorrow at 4. And then on Wednesday, for you adults who also want to participate in Mad Cave Store of the Month celebrations and the 10-year anniversary of Mad Cave, we have our Fresh Start Book Club, which is where we take a title off the shelf, just the issue 1, and we make that issue 1 $1, and you come in and you get to learn about a whole new series. And we are going to be doing that with issue 1 of Hunt, Kill, Repeat. This is a recent Mad Cave series that just wrapped up not too long ago, and we are going to be reading that issue 1 this Wednesday, 7 p.m. For all of you adults, come out. This is a great book. It's all about the Greek gods being mad that the world isn't worshiping them anymore. And so they kind of want to, like, reinvent the way that they make people focus on them. And Artemis, of course, being the goddess of the hunt, is one who is sent to be an enforcer. And for the first time ever, Artemis finds herself falling in love with a mortal. And we are going to see what happens when the gods make some terrible decisions surrounding that. And Artemis has to strike back. Really great series. I love it. It is one of my Mad Cave faves, so I'm so happy to share it with everybody. And then this Saturday, we are going to be out at the Imagine School in North Manatee for their annual Comic-Con. This is such a blast. If you are local and you have a family, this is a great opportunity to take them all to a small con for everybody, because this is $15 for the whole family. Doesn't matter how many people are in your family shows up. You get your ticket for $15. You come in, you support the school. It's great. There's going to be vendors of all kinds. We'll be there. Our friends at Descendants Gaming will be there. We're going to have, there's artists, there's video games, there's games, there's comic workshops, there's all kinds of stuff. There's costume contests. This is going to be such a fun experience. We were there last year. We love being a part of it. I cannot wait to go out and support Imagine School in North Manatee again. So if you want a fun time this Saturday, head over to the Imagine School in North Manatee and really just celebrate with those kids. And take your kids, because it's going to be a ton of fun. We've got some other events coming up pretty soon that I don't have flyers for, but we've got April 27th is our Remake Learning Days experience, our Academic Avengers Academy. If you didn't make it out last year, this is one of my favorite annual events that we do. It is all a play day of learning and growing and just having fun as a family. There's different games for everybody to play. This year we're adding in our superhero obstacle course, which is going to be a fun adventure. We're going to have one of our Bat Fam members is going to be out teaching yo-yo tricks. We're really excited to have him out teaching kids yo-yos. We're going to have Hannah's Enchantments out doing some fun activities for the kids. We're going to have the Reflections of Manatee out talking about the history of our area and really explain that. So that is going to be April 27th, 11 to 4. It's going to be a blast. During that, Segunda Vida is also going to be doing a community cleanup. So you're going to be able to grab a bag and help Segunda Vida with cleaning up our community during that event as well, which is going to be super fun. And then, of course, May 4th is Free Comic Book Day. You have that on your calendars already, I'm sure, but from 11 to 4 on Free Comic Book Day, we are going to be having our big celebration. It's going to be a blast. We are going to have the free comics, which there's dozens of crazy awesome titles to choose from this year. I'm so excited. But we also are going to have Gary Barker, who's the cartoonist who's been drawing Garfield since the 80s for Jim Davis, out. We're going to have TV artworks out. Our good friend Tim, we're so excited. We're going to have Alfred Page out. We are going to have our team behind our exclusive Dick Tracy cover out. Adrian Prudhomme and Austin McKinley. I'm so excited about having them there. We are going to have the Manatee Public Library system out. We are going to have the Shelf Indulgence Book Bus. We are going to have Descent into Gaming here with some gaming stuff. We're going to have costumers with a cause out. We're going to have a couple of other cosplayers who are going to be joining. It is going to be crazy. I already know that I forgot half the things that we are going to have that day, but I did not forget that the Good News Grillers will be out with free hot dogs during Free Comic Book Day. So come get a free comic and get a free hot dog and support some amazingly cool people who are going to be here along the way. And if you're looking for that Dick Tracy exclusive that I just mentioned, we are going to be having a CGC signing for that April 24th. So that is going to be from 3:30 to 7:30 p.m. And it is going to be awesome. What were you saying?
The book comes out that day.
The book also comes out April 24th, so it is going to be Mad Cave crazy this month. So we're so excited to launch Dick Tracy #1 with our own exclusive. It's amazing. If you haven't seen it, it is on our story, both on Instagram and Facebook. It's also a post on both Instagram and Facebook, so you can go check it out and see the amazing work that Adrian and Austin did on that crazy awesome cover, and then come in and get it signed. It's $20 for the regular and 40 for the foil. Okay. 20 for the regular and 40 for the foil. And they will be doing, like I said, a CGC signing for it. The day it comes out, April 24th from 3:30 to 7:30. So come on out. I believe Adrian is also offering remarks that day for $20 on it. So it's a great day to celebrate Dick Tracy, which we're excited about. And there's more to come on the Dick Tracy front from Bat City, don't you worry. But we've got a lot of awesome books to talk about. I'm going to take another drink of our wine, and then I'm going to kick it off.
It's good wine.
It is a good wine. And I have a lot of people after I do this whole rundown and come into the store who always say, like, where do I find those events? They are on our calendar, which is pinned at the top of our Instagram. It is also on all of our Facebook events. So if you follow us at Bat City Comic Books on Instagram or Facebook, you can actually find that calendar events to rerun through everything I just did really fast with more information. Or, like I said, follow those Facebook events and you can see all the details there. All right, so we're going to kick it off with some books. We've got House of Slaughter issue 22 from Boom Studios. If you are a fan of Something is Killing the Children and you don't know about House of Slaughter yet, you should probably jump on this. I know when it first came out, it was like, oh, it's kind of side stories. You don't really necessarily have to read it. We are working to kind of bring these two worlds together now. So this is The Butcher War Part 2, and this is basically Jace Butcher, who was introduced in the very first House of Slaughter. We've kind of heard that him and the House of Slaughter have been at war for a very long time, and he's kind of in this, everybody needs to stop being associated with these houses and taking these children and teaching them to slaughter monsters is just getting them slaughtered, and he's very much against it. And so now the houses have come together, both the House of Butcher and the House of Slaughter, and they are trying to take Jace down once and for all and kind of prove that this is what people should be doing, is that they're doing the right thing. And Jace is going to have to make his own stand, and we're going to see how this Butcher War plays out for him. This is the newest volume. You can kind of, like every other volume for the most part, has been a Jace piece of the story, and the other ones have kind of connected back to the overall House of Slaughter and what's going on with Erica. This is definitely one, though, to pick up for sure, because I think it's going to have really, really big impacts on what happens in the next arc of Something is Killing the Children for sure. I Hate Fairyland, issue 13 from Image Comics. And this is Scotty Young's sixth volume of I Hate Fairyland. We are very far into I Hate Fairyland. But this is kind of a place where you can jump in, honestly, because we're starting to see, like, this specifically is kind of just a one-shot almost in it, but we're starting to see Scotty kind of reiterate some of the important pieces of I Hate Fairyland, and this one does it very well. If you've never read it before, I Hate Fairyland is about a young girl named Gert who goes on a magical adventure into Fairyland where she's supposed to just grab a key and it'll lead her back to a magic door that takes her home. Gert can't figure it out. She's not very smart. She gets trapped inside of Fairyland for a very, very long time and is essentially like a 37-year-old woman inside of the body of a 7-year-old girl. And now she's back in Fairyland for various reasons. And in this issue, like I said, it's kind of a recap of everything that's ever happened in the thing in a way only Scotty Young can do, because she is approached by the Never a Fair Amount Brothers production studio who wants to make a movie about Gert. And we get to see exactly how studio treatment of a story such as I Hate Fairyland may play out when they don't trust Gert's opinion on the script, and they don't trust Gert to play herself because she doesn't have enough of a Gert appeal, as they say. And they keep kind of going back and forth on all these different things. Like, they're like, oh, we love your first draft. We've already written a second draft. And Gert's like, you haven't even read the first draft yet. And they're like, anyway, the movie's done. You should check it out. It's going to be amazing. Here's your tickets to the premiere. And Gert's like, what is happening? This is definitely not going to be my story. This is probably one of the funniest issues of I Hate Fairyland, though, because it has so many jokes from Scotty Young that if you were to ask me what Scotty Young's opinion was on people adapting comic books and books and working with studios, I would feel like I have a very strong opinion on what Scotty's opinion would be. But it's hilarious, it's satirical, and it's obviously just Gert being wild. So check it out. A Legacy of Violence, issue 12 from Mad Cave Comics. This is the end of A Legacy of Violence. So we are seeing that wrap up finally to this story. And this is all about a man who has this experience where a patient comes in and he starts telling him about a place called Unit 731. And so he goes on this Doctors Without Borders experience, essentially, to try to go to this place where this red room type experience is for these patients, and he ends up getting in a mess of trouble. But what we have learned that he has not is that he is somehow connected to this 731 unit and this red room place, and there is a long running history of how him and his family are connected to this. And so whether he was brought there by his own volition or whether or not there's this secret plan that has kind of pushed him to there, it's something he has to face in this issue and kind of figure out, like, is there a way out for me, or is this going to be something that I have to choose, like it's a destiny beyond my control? And we're going to see what he chooses, what happens, and how this all plays out for him in this issue. And if you're one of those people who waits for an ending, it is here now, so you can grab that. And I imagine that they're going to do like one more trade paperback for it to wrap it all up. We've got Phantom Road issue 10 from Image Comics and Jeff Lemire. There was just a big announcement that Jeff Lemire has a book coming with Boom Studios soon. So I'm really excited to see what Jeff's got coming up there. They have not said what yet. They just were like, hey, Jeff Lemire is coming, and so I'm kind of excited. But if you haven't read Phantom Road, this is about a man and a woman who meet up while he is driving a semi-truck, and she is in a dire situation. And suddenly they find themselves on literally a phantom road, a road that does not seem to have the ability to exist, that kind of runs parallel to our reality. And it seems like there is a truck stop that is the in and out points of this alternate reality they're in. And they have been given the charge of carrying this phantom baby type thing across this phantom road to somewhere. They don't really know where. They don't know why they were chosen. They don't know what's going on. Meanwhile, in our reality, there is a FBI agent who is investigating what is actually happening here in this situation. And she, in this issue, finds herself being told that she is not going to be the one who gets to carry this case to the end. And she's of course, not going to back down. And so where is this going? Where is she? What is she going to find? What is her connection to all of this? Why is she so important to the story? And where are these people and what are they actually doing? We're going to figure out eventually, as Jeff continues to drive us along this road towards whatever our destination will be. As always with Jeff Lemire, I just completely and totally trust him to lead me to a story point that I'm going to be happy with. So I'm like, wherever you're going, Jeff, like, I got in the car. Let's just drive. It's going to be great. And speaking of getting in cars and driving, Transformers issue 7 is out this week from Image, Skybound, and their Energon universe. You are getting a Transformers or a G.I. Joe related book pretty much every week at this point from Skybound. If you didn't know, those two universes are crossing over through the path of Void Rivals and the new titles like Transformers, G.I. Joe, Duke, Cobra Commander. I know Scarlet's about to have a title drop. I'm curious to see if we're going to get more single titled Transformer comics. But in the Transformer universe, so far, as far as we know, like, the Autobots have not fully come back into power. They are falling behind on the Decepticons, who have been run by Starscream up until this point. You know, he is currently being challenged by Soundwave to see who will lead the Decepticons, because there is no Megatron leading the charge at this point, and these Decepticons are determined to take down the Autobots. And so this issue is kind of focused on that, but it's also focusing on the idea of, like, can you just go after revenge, and is it always good to just have this, like, I have to destroy everything I see mentality? You know, we see that from the Decepticons, but we're starting to see the humans who are connected to the Autobots really struggle with, I just want to destroy everything and get this revenge on them, and the Autobots trying to teach that lesson of, like, hey, isn't that how we ended up here in the first place? Like, let us be a guide for you. So you're starting to see some of the meat and the heart of the story that connects those humans and Autobot relationships really starting to grow in these issues. But if you're a fan of Transformers, it's all the things you could possibly need rolled into one. And Jorge Corona just took over, I guess I should say that. Jorge Corona just took over on art on this. So Daniel Warren Johnson is still writing, but now Jorge Corona is doing art, which is super cool to me because I love Jorge so much. And it's great to have those two as a team. Earth Diver 1776 Part 6. Which is really like part 16 of this overall story, but this is also from IDW. This is the story of America, and basically we get to the far future, and America's been destroyed. It's got nothing left, and this group of people are like, hey, we need to go back. And I think that the problem initially was like, maybe it was when Columbus came. And then it was like, no, maybe it needs to go back further. Maybe we need to go back to, like, the Bering Strait and keep people from coming across. And then in the last volume, they were like, hey, I think, or in this volume, I guess, we need to go back to 1776. And we need to stop the Founding Fathers from the things that they said that people took too literally, that have led to so many of the problems that we have. And so one of our time travelers is back in 1776 on this one-way mission to get the Founding Fathers to not put almond and to not use some of the specialized wording that kind of builds in racism and segregation and things in the early days. And so it's interesting to see, like, how they're trying to get this to happen, and just how much, like, they do not care about butterfly effect. Like, for them, the world's already ending. There's nothing better for it. Like, they don't think they're going to make it, you know, a safe space that they can come back to, but they're just trying to make it a safe space for somebody. So for them, they're kind of like, forget the butterfly effect at this point. Like, nothing is working. We've got to go big. And they are just destroying things left and right, but kind of trying to do it for a positive way. We're going to see how that plays out in the next issue, hopefully. We've got Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees, issue 5, also from IDW. This is a fan favorite book from pretty much everybody who's picked it up. We've gotten like second and third prints of pretty much every issue so far. If you haven't read it, the best description of it is it's Richard Scarry's children's books meets Dexter, the book or TV show, however you want to look at your Dexter. It is all about a storybook bear who lives in a storybook village with a bunch of other animals and runs the local hardware store, and who also just happens to be a serial killer. But she's like, hey, I'm not gonna kill people that I know. I'm not gonna kill people in my town. So she goes to the big city for all of her killings. Well, one day somebody kills somebody in her town, and she's like, oh my God, I don't really want people killing in my town, but also I don't want the police to start investigating murderers because then they might accidentally find me. So she has spent the last 5 issues investigating who it could possibly be that is the murderer, and that has led down the very dark holes that she didn't want to end up in the first place. And now she is fighting for her own home. She's fighting for her good name. She's fighting for her sanity at this point. And we are going to see if Sam is able to make it out, or if she is going to have to go wild and resort back to the violence that she has tried so hard to maintain at an arm's length. Such a good story. Such a like awesome creative concept. Can't wait to see how it plays out. Haunted House, A Love Story, issue 5 from Blood Moon Comics. This is about a house that is built with love and compassion by, one man a long, long time ago. And then that house, because of that, falls deeply in love with its owner. And then that owner dies, and the house remains. And the house has now become very angry and very disappointed that nobody could ever be the same as its original builder and owner. And so it has spent decades and decades tormenting people who have tried to find its home in there. And at this point in issue 5, the house has now been condemned because everybody that goes in there goes crazy or gets murdered or something happens because of this house being haunted. And so they have condemned the house, and in this issue a bunch of kids find themselves, teenagers find themselves just bored on Valentine's Day, and so they break into the house and are trying to figure out whether or not there's any truth to the rumors, and maybe they're just going to spray paint it up and tag it up. And one of them has a special experience with the house, and the house just kind of finds that attachment once again to somebody. But does it work out? Where does this go? We're going to find out. This house has just never had a healthy relationship with anyone, and this is just such a great allegory for toxic and abusive relationships. Very similar to the Me You Love in the Dark kind of situation. So, Unnatural Order, issue 4 from Vault Comics. This is the wrap-up of this volume. We are going to see Unnatural Order return for a second volume very soon. It's kind of doing like Barbaric did at the beginning, where it had a mini-series that led it to however long, people's interest will maintain. It'll keep doing, cool new mini-series for it. This is all about what we're led to believe is a druid person who in ancient Rome was trapped inside of a prison, essentially, because he had brought dark magic that destroyed the natural order of the world. After issue 1, we know there's a little bit more to that story. This is not just your standard Roman history story. This is actually a complete mixture of the natural order of the world being destroyed. And so we actually have found ourselves with people from different places and different times fighting together to stop this evil entity. And we have a man who is a military man named Murphy, who is from our time and is like, hey, none of what you believe is real. None of this is what's going on. I'm here to actually put a stop to what is happening. And in this issue, they finally face to face with this evil entity who offers Murphy some really big choices on ways he could, let him go and let the world maintain, or he could possibly get back some things he's been missing, or he could destroy him and bring the world back to as it was, which isn't going so well in the first place. So why would anybody want that back? Really cool, crazy crafting of it, because you do find out there's so many more layers to that, but so many of the twists and turns are really cool things that I don't want to spoil for you. So pretend like everything I said is actually what the plot of the book is, and then read it and find out everything that I just left out, because there's so much. I just gave you the icing. Now go and actually read the cake. Thundercats, issue 3 from Dynamite. If you have a favorite 80s cartoon, chances are right now they have a comic book on the shelf. And this is one of the latest to join the slew of those with the Thundercats. And this is, for people who are fans of the comic or the cartoon, this is definitely a fun reimagining. And I kind of say just a requel of the Thundercats, sort of. But they have just left Thundara, and in the process of it, I don't want to spoil that, but it's so good. In the process of leaving, their planet exploding, at the time Lionel's a small child, they end up landing on a planet. Lionel suddenly grows to be an adult, but it's like, oh my gosh, now I have to leave. And in the very first issue of this series, he actually breaks. The Sword of Omens actually gets broken, and so he is trying to figure out how to be a leader without their power sword. Since then, they have met a Thundarian who they've never met before, who's supposed to be a farm girl, and who goes by Calico, and so Lionel kind of finds an immediate attachment to her. And in this issue, we see a lot of arguing back and forth between the members of the ranks who think that maybe Lionel's focus is too much on Calico and not on the role that he should be taking on, and how maybe because he literally grew up too fast, maybe he's not quite ready for all of the responsibilities, and of course that pressure is hitting him really hard. And another old friend returns to us in this issue, and it's kind of weird because they don't know how people keep showing up that shouldn't be able to show up. So we're going to figure out where that goes. Huh? Oh, I thought you said something. Up next, we have The Cabinet, issue 3 from Image Comics. What's really cool right now is I think we have some really off-the-wall topics for comics, things that aren't actually done all the time, and this one is one of those for sure. This is about a young girl. I have to show you this because this page makes me laugh. Notice the carpet on the bottom. This is about a young girl whose parents were supposed to be in charge of this cabinet, and inside of it is all these weird, crazy little doohickeys and doodads and stuff, and each one is a relic that actually controls a different piece of a puzzle that locks up this ancient evil. And it is just a regular little Indian in the cupboard kind of sized cabinet, and it's spoons and thimbles and things like that are the pieces. And when she's little, she is being trained by her parents to know how to protect it and how to organize it. And of course, as a small child, she's like, hey, I want to go play with this, and she opens it up and is playing with it and unleashes the ultimate evil all in the world, and something happens and her parents are missing, and now she is trying to find all of the pieces and put them back together with a friend that she's met in college. And they are doing an okay job. Okay is the best you can give them. They are doing a halfway decent job. And because of that, they are being followed by some evil people who are trying to really stop them from getting to where they're going, an ancient society that's very much against them. And in this issue, we finally learn a little bit more about that and a little bit more about the people that are coming to them and coming for them. But we are definitely going to see this adventure open up really, really wide with this group, and whether or not she can put everything back together from the mind of the little kid, because the only notes she has on what she's supposed to be doing, she took when she was 5. So everything is literally the thingamabobber goes inside the doohickey, and she's only person that knows what any of this means, but she has to put it all back together again in order to save the world. And yet, again, it's doing a halfway decent job, and I just feel for this little girl, because if you've ever, had that experience of I have to fix the thing I broke, but you also have no idea how to do that, and you feel really bad and really awkward, you understand how she is feeling right now. Oh, there you go. That's the one that you asked me about. The Crying Boy issue 2 from Keenspot is out. So cover your ears, Matt. But you knew this one. You saw it when I put it out on Tuesday. I remember now. There was one that you were asking me about. The Crying Boy issue 2. If you did not read number 1, this is all about a mother and a son who move into an apartment, and they are immediately haunted by this photo that's hanging on the wall of this really creepy boy that kind of gets into the mind of her son, and he starts focusing really heavily on this creepy boy and really feels a connection of demonic entity. And in the last issue, I'm trying to skip all the crazy cool images. In the last issue, the mom ends up calling a woman, a medium, to try to figure out what's going on. And this issue opens up right where that left off, in the middle of their seance, to figure out what is happening. And we get to see exactly what that means for the lady and what that's going to mean for this young boy who is being haunted by this. But we also open it up a little bit more, and we get to learn about not just the history of that painting, but history of so many other things that connect to this. And we kind of see that we might have issues where we need a priest to come in, and a priest that may be connected to this already that may be coming. So we're probably going to get a really cool exorcism story as this continues to grow on. But it gets a little bit creepier and creepier as the story flows. So if you like horror and you're looking for like a good horror book that's just got that like creepy kid who can't let go of like the weird thing that's haunting him and kind of is affecting everybody else, Crying Boy is definitely going to be the one for you. And it gets really, really detailed in some of that art and really, really off the wall in other places, which is cool. Napalm Lullaby, issue 2 from Image and the Giant Generator, which is Rick Remender's imprint. This is the story of a brother and sister who are in a world much, much into the future where essentially like a new religion has formed that is controlling everything and everybody. And they are determined to kind of bring that down and bring down the government that's connected to it and start this rebellion. And they've kind of been trained on this concept of how to do that and stuff from their dad. But now that they go to their dad in this issue and they're like, hey, this is what we're going to do. He's like, that's a terrible idea. Don't do that. That's just how bad things happen. You should just move on and forget it. And they're like, well, we can't. We have to help people. You taught us that. And we're going to do it. And so they are working with some really weird powers that they seem to have. When the brother loses control, he essentially becomes like has like pyrokinesis that he can't control. And the sister seems to have a power when she's asleep, she can build these dreamscape realities. And so the two of them are going to use these powers that neither one of them has control over, hopefully, to bring the world back into a neutral space. And, you know, the brother's like, what are we going to do once we figure out, like, who's in charge and we get rid of, like, this ultimate power? Like, we should, you know, maybe we should be in charge. And she's like, that's anybody who says I should get rid of a power in charge so that I can, and then take over myself, is already on the path to being the evil entity in charge. Like, you can't go into it wanting to take over. You have to actually truly want to give people freedom. Otherwise, you're just as bad as the people before you. This is going to be a really great book. I think that Rick Remender's got a lot that he's throwing in this one, and I want to see where he goes with that for sure. Night People, issue 2 from Oni Press. This one has almost like a Natural Born Killers, like Thelma and Louise mixture to it. It's got two girls who believe that they've heard the new form of the Bible, essentially, and that it is their responsibility to go out and make the world a better place. And a lot of that comes with like standing in there and really doing what they believe to be the Lord's work, which is a lot of attacking of people who, of men who don't necessarily believe that women deserve rights and things like that. And they have just been going through all of the South, essentially, making an impact on this. It is crazy to see what these girls are willing to do. Again, it's very Thelma and Louise. Like, they're like, oh, I know that I've got nothing to lose. I'm on my own. Who cares? But at the same time, like, it is going to show you the dark underbelly of a lot of family relationships and a lot of relationships that people may have with their religion and their community. And we're going to see where this goes. It is very violent and very mature for sure. But it's Chris Condon is on this, who did that Texas Blood. And it is also Barry Gifford is the person who came up with the idea, and I believe he is the creator of Wild Heart and co-writer of Lost Highway for David Lynch, and you can kind of feel a lot of that intensity in this story. So if you're looking for something that gets really dark but also has like really crazy storytelling and characters, like, everybody in here is kind of like, ooh, like, you have a really bad backstory and you're using it in like some of the worst ways. Like, this, it makes for a really great story though. Little Black Book from issue 2 from AWA. Please don't. This is actually a damaged copy, so please don't judge the quality of this book. I promise I did not sell anybody one that was in this bad a shape. This is the story of a guy who finds out. Make sure. Okay. Finds out that his dad has left him a house. And he has been estranged from his father his whole life, but he and his girlfriend or wife, I'm not sure if they're actually married, his partner, they have found out that the dad has left them a house, and since she is pregnant, it's like, okay, you know what, let's take this house and figure out whatever we can do. Well, in the process of moving in the house, they find out that the dad had a little black book, and all of the information in it kind of sounds like he might have been like a hitman or a cleaner for some mobsters. And so they are like, you know, this might come in handy someday, who knows. Well, in the first issue, the woman hits a woman who's walking on the street, and they end up having to call in for some help. And I guess that has alerted the people that his father worked for to the fact that maybe he's still out there, or maybe somebody has discovered this information and what their operations are. And so now those people are on the hunt to try to find out who it is that's using this little black book and how they can get their hands on it. And we see some really big action pieces in this story, and we have some big character reveals in this issue. So if you didn't pick up issue 2 yet, but you grabbed issue 1, definitely don't miss this issue, because it brings the story a lot further in this one issue. So all right, we've got some number ones. First up, we've got The Land Left Behind. This is issue 1, and it is a new Blood Moon comic. This is, what if you took some knights and put them in with the dinosaurs? And so we've got a group of knights who are out, and they are investigating this deserty type land that's not too far from where they're stationed, and they're trying to help their leader, who is obsessed with exploration. And we are hearing this from the local kid who's kind of like the page / zoologist for this night. And so they're out, and they're just doing their regular stuff, and a sandstorm hits, and suddenly they run into this cavern to try to hide. And when they come out of the canyon that the cavern is in, they find themselves staring at some really weird leftovers from an animal attack. And they're like, what kind of animal is that? Where is this possible? Like, what is going on here? And suddenly they find themselves face to face with some dinosaurs. And of course, they have no idea what dinosaurs are. It's funny because the night guy's like, I'm going to name this animal. I'm going to name it. And then names it like exactly what the dinosaurs called. And so it's kind of funny. But this guy's like, we need to get out of here. This is a terrible idea. We are on horses. We do not know anything about fighting these animals. And of course, this guy's like, I'm not leaving until I discover everything. And the knights are like, this is going to suck. So again, if you want to take knights and put them in dinosaur land and see if they can survive, and you've always wanted to know what that would look like, here it is right here for you. We're going to find out if they make it through. Monsters Are My Business from Dark Horse Comics. This is issue 1. I'm not going to lie, I'm here for this book because there is a chainsaw wielding koala bear. That's my selling point for this book. I don't know what else you need. Chainsaw wielding koala bear. But this is about a guy who fights monsters, and essentially the alchemist who is supposed to be there to help him like clean up his mess. And they are on their mission to kind of stop this gigantically disgusting monster that is ransacking the city. And he gets everything done with that, and he gets an offer from a man who comes in and is like, hey, I will pay you this much money to take this on. And he's like, I don't trust you. Every time I've ever taken a job for you, and it's been terrible. And he's like, yeah, but now I work for the government. And he's like, I don't trust the government either. And he's like, yes, but we pay better. And so the guy's like, all right, I got to take this job. It's going to definitely be a trap. It's definitely going to end up with me in danger. I don't know that I really should take this job. And his friend's like, you definitely shouldn't take this job, but I'm going to be there to protect you because I really want to sell your soul one day because she's a necromancer, to my demon lord. And he's like, all right, well, I've got my necromancer that I can't really trust. I've got this guy that I absolutely don't trust. But at least I have my chainsaw wielding koala. And there you go. You don't need anything else. He looks kind of like Stitch, but even more adorable. Seriously, read the book for the koala. I hope he gets starring Bill next issue because he's so adorable. Doesn't even speak. He's just adorable, and I'm like, yep, I'm in. Let's do this. We've got Dead Weights, issue 1 from Ahoy Comics. This is all about two guys who are supervillains, and they've been on a supervillain team for a while now, and they're like, hey, this is going really well, can't wait for world domination, like, what's up, how do we get to that stage of supervillainy? And they're, like, talking to their team, and they're like, we can't wait, and they're like, yeah, so it turns out, like, you guys are really, really bad supervillains, you're not really good at your job, and you're fired. And they're like, what? Like, we want to be supervillains, we want to take over the world, like, come on. And so they get fired from their job, and they're walking along, and they're like, I guess we should find some different clothes now that we're not supervillains so that nobody, like, attacks us. And so they end up, like, jumping into this woman's backyard and stealing some clothes off her clothing line. And she's like, hey, you can't do that. Those are my sons. If you're going to do that, like, you have to at least come and, like, earn those clothes. Like, I'll help you out if you're trying to turn over another leaf and be better people, like, from whatever it is that you did. And so she takes them to the site of their own supervillain fight that they just had, and is like, here, help clean this up. And they're like, we caused this. Like, we don't want to clean it up. And one of the guys is like, you know what? I'll help. And so they actually start helping. They realize, like, hey, maybe we want to be superheroes instead. And it's kind of a fun little look at, like, whether or not they can, because as they, like, are doing that, the superheroes that they just fought show up and are like, oh my god, they're back. And so it's like, hey, can you ever leave behind, like, the world that you were in? Like, can you ever actually really turn another leaf and, like, become a better person? These guys are going to find out one way or another as the series goes on. I think it's going to be at least 3 issues. But I'm really curious because I really like these characters already, and I like seeing them try to grow and the questions that they're having of themselves and each other as they move into that. I really can't wait to see what they do. Saint Mercy Godland, issue 1 from Image Top Cow. This is a volume 2 for Saint Mercy. Honestly, if you didn't read volume 1, you're going to be totally fine. They do a really nice recap of who this character is at the very beginning, and everything else is kind of irrelevant so far. So you can jump into this, but this is all about a young woman whose job it is to essentially protect the sacred pieces of gold in the Old West. And she's got the spirit of a god inside of her that has caused her to have the strength and power essentially to do that. And her sister has become a demon essentially, and she's like, okay, I have to, like, protect my sister, I have to protect this gold, we got to get out of here, this place that we've been, like, too many people know who we are. So they end up going to a movie set, and while they're on the set, she's, like, watching her favorite actress shoot these guns, and the woman comes over and is like, oh, hey, talking to the fans, and she's like, hey, just so you know, like, you're shooting the wrong kind of guns. You wouldn't have guns like that in the holsters, like, that you are wearing. You need to have this kind of gun. And the lady's like, you should come be the advisor to the set. Like, you seem to know everything about guns and shooting and being, like, an actual, like, Old West, like, hero. Like, come be on my set. And so they are deciding, in this issue, are, like, make their plans to kind of jump in and go be a part of this film. And so we are taking the sacred gold and the demon sister and the god inside of her, and we are going to Hollywood, and we are going to see how that plays out for them. The first volume of this was really, really, like, beautiful storytelling, and I can't wait to see what they do with this second volume, because I really enjoyed the first one. I believe we might actually even have a trade of the first one. It's been a couple years since it came out, but I think we might actually still have one. So, and I think we might still have some of the single issues, but I do think we have a trade. But if you didn't read it again, you could totally jump in right here and get to know these characters and go along on this journey with them. Our celebrating their 10-year anniversary friends at Mad Cave have a new book out with When the Blood Has Dried. This is issue 1. And this is for my high fantasy fans that are looking for another book to jump onto. This is going to be a great one for you. It is all about a guild of people who are trying to kind of make their way through this situation. I really love this lead character and the way they've put her into it, but I'm going to flip it around in just a second because I want to find a certain page. But she's got to deal with it's very Irish, so I'm like trying to remember how to say her name. But she's got, you know, the connections to like the local butcher and the fruit, and she is like the local barkeep, and she's trying to constantly get everybody to just work together and be on top of things. But of course, we're in this high fantasy book, so you know there's some darkness coming their way, and some really dangerous story points are coming along, and I don't want to spoil anything because I'm trying to but there is trying to find the pieces that okay, I'm just going to show you. I'm trying to not show you the pages that are going to be too spoilery, but she hears from a guy who's like, oh, I've come to be a part of this thing, and have you ever heard of the Adventurers Guild? And she's like, yes, I have, and this is dark and dangerous, and I don't want to be a part of anything. But at the same time, you can tell that there's something with it that she's like, I don't trust you, and I don't trust this Adventurers Guild. And she's trying to do the right thing by her community. She's got all these, you know, like I said, great people that she's kind of networked up with. And yet, if these adventurers are coming, she knows that there's this darkness that follows not long after them, and they are going to destroy this perfect community. And I know that there's going to be some connection to her, and whatever it is that she is like having these weird faces and expressions for when she hears from this adventurer's guide, because whatever that guild is bringing, I think she's going to have some secret past with them, and I can't wait. I really like her as a character already, and it's so in-depth for her. All right, we've got The Principles of Necromancy, issue 1 from Magma Comics out this week. This is our launch for Magma Comics, so if you are like, I've never heard of them, that's okay. This is technically the first Magma Comics that you're going to get. They have they're launching right here with some really big stories coming your way. The Principles of Necromancy is kind of going to be a little anthology-esque. But this is about a guy whose name is Dr. Eyes, and he is part of a team of physicians who are trying to make the world a better place. Or at least that's what they tell people they're doing, but Dr. Eyes is far from doing the right thing. He keeps coming around and promising people like he can give them eternal life, and he actually promises this soldier that on like the very first page, like this commander of this unit, and then they go into battle, and like 2 pages later it's like the guy dies, and they're like, I thought you were promising eternal life, and he's like, oh yeah, well that's not really how that works, it's a little bit different, but I can give it to you. And the new leader is like, I mean, okay, sure. And there is some ways that Dr. Eyes is doing these things that he is telling people he is going to do them, but they are not in the way that you would think. And I'm just going to keep showing you these shots of the battlefield because I won't show you anything else. Because what Dr. Eyes is doing and where he and his team are going to lead us is going to be very, very dark and creepy. And if you didn't pick this book up, it does say like, you know, it's going to be like it does have like the end kind of moment at it, but it also does tease the next issue because like I said, it's kind of an anthology of Dr. Eyes and his other doctors from his group going around and making very great decisions on how to save the world. So check it out if you like those weird, creepy, like even things like Legacy of Violence or some of the other like weird off the wall horrors we've seen recently. I think you're gonna like Principles of Necromancy. Complete opposite end of the spectrum. Disney's Dynamite series have launched Hercules issue 1. This does not connect to the Hades issues that just ended. We just had that whole run for him. This is not connected at all. but it is another fun story with Disney's Hercules. And so in this, he is still with Megara. Yay! She's my favorite character in that movie. They are still together, and if you recall, at the end of the Disney movie, he tells the gods that he's going to stay immortal, be with Meg, and help people on land. And so he is on Earth, still trying to help people battle against the evil monsters that the gods have unleashed on everybody because they're terrible. And so he is working to fight them, always. Phil is out there getting him new jobs. Aphrodite comes to him and says, oh, I helped make a statue come to life because this man wanted a statue. I brought it to life. Now it's an evil monster. You need to go stop it. And Meg and Hercules head off to go battle that, only to find out that it is not, of course, what they have heard it is. And the gods are always meddling and messing stuff up. Honestly, if you're a fan of the Hercules cartoon from Disney, you really don't need any other reason to pick this up. It reads exactly like the movie. The character voices are still there perfectly. You could add the songs in there, and it would be wonderful. So if you are a fan of Disney's Hercules, you just really got to pick it up. It'll probably be a 4-part series, just like all the other ones. The Valley of the Dead. This is issue 1. This is a news story for the Usher of the Dead from Blood Moon Comics. If you've never read any of his books, this is actually going to be probably a really good place to start. He is literally the Grim Reaper, essentially. He is a man who ushers the dead in. And we do actually get to see how possibly that started in this one. We get to start with some angels who are talking about death and the processes that they all have and the place that they're supposed to stand. And then we get to see those same angels and face some demons and the realities of our world that we're in right now. What I really like about this is it kind of gives you all of that story. And then, as I said, this is a great little jumping in point because we do then fast forward to issues of what the Usher of the Dead has kind of become. And in that, they actually give you little pieces, like you get like 1 or 2 pages of a teaser from each of the different Usher of the Dead stories that have existed before. Kind of giving you like a recap of like who this person is and putting all of those things in context so that they could possibly give us like a full series of him from all the different one-shots they've done. So if you haven't read it, again, this is probably a good jumping in point to figure out who this character is and what they're going to do with it. But it is kind of a cool way to also get a recap for those who have been reading it. All right, I'm going to take another drink because I'm about to talk about picks of the week. That is just way too easy to drink. Like
mine's gone.
Matt's is gone. Yeah, I was like, yours is gone. It is so smooth. Oh my gosh. All right. So we're gonna go this way. We'll get darker as we go along. So we're gonna kick off our picks of the week with Uncanny Valley #1 from Boom Studios. This is another new one from Tony Fleece, who is, may know from Stray Dogs and Feral. This is a happier-ish story. It's definitely a less horror story, but this is, for fans of things like Roger Rabbit, this is going to be a great book for you. This is about a young boy who has that feeling of not belonging and is constantly getting in trouble at school for just the weirdest things that nobody seems to understand how they could be possible. And now his mom is like a single mom, and she's like, hey, you got in trouble at school again. We're gonna have to move if you keep doing this. Like, at least change your schools. You gotta be careful, dude. And he's like, I'm sorry. And they have their conversation, that kind of leads us to get a little bit of a hint that something is different about him. And then they go home, and of course, they have been found by the things that have been chasing them for whatever reason that we don't necessarily know what it is. And I'm just going to give you a little hint of like some creepy birds hanging outside. But who is coming for this kid, and who is coming for this mom, and where is this mom from, and who is she? There is a little bit of a reveal at the end of the series, or the end of the issue, right after this page, that there is somebody coming to really stop him. and kidnap this kid and take him to another world of some sort that you're going to find all about. And the only person who can protect him is a long lost relative he didn't know he had, and I'm not going to spoil that and tell you any more about them. But again, if you're fans of those kinds of things, this is a great one. I did ask Tony Fleece and Dave Watcher, who's doing the art on it, if this was something that would be like family friendly, could go for all ages, like throughout the series, and they definitely said yes, it's going to be fine for like middle schools, kids and up for sure. So this is a great one to just kind of share. And you're going to get, again, if you're a fan of like cartoons and stuff, you're going to get a lot of your favorites that you're going to kind of see homages to in that. All right, let's step up the darkness scale just a little bit, because we've got Dark Spaces Dungeon issue 5 from IDW and Scott Snyder and Hayden Sherman, who kicked off the Dark Spaces imprint a year or so ago with Wildfire. This has been such a great story. It is all about a guy who is going for a run one day, trips over a what is the word I want to use? Like a vault type thing, like in the ground, a hatch. I was like, what is it called on Lost? Well, it's outside, so it's a hatch outside that he trips over, and it comes to find out it is a part of these hidden dungeons that are hidden all over the world by this guy who's called the Keeper. And so they bring in this detective who, when he was a kid, he was caught by the Keeper and trapped in one of his dungeons. And so he's like, oh my gosh, thank you, we have to see this one. You know, we've been investigating this, trying to find this Keeper for my whole life, essentially, since I escaped. And in the process of investigating this situation, the guy who found the Keeper, his son gets kidnapped by him. And so now they are trying to save the son. And in this issue, they have come to a place where they have finally figured out where the Keeper might actually be, and they have gone after him and are trying to save that son and figure out like this final battle, so you could say, of like, can I stop him? Is this ever going to be something I get away from? And Scott Snyder does it again. Like I'm gonna just say, like, I was telling Matt this, like I thought, like, going into this, I was like, this was such a clean ending for Scott Snyder, the first half of the book, that I was almost really disappointed. And then Scott Snyder reminded me that he's better at this than I am, and really just like elevated this ending in such a great way. So if you are reading this series, you're like, hang on to the end. They do such a great job with the ending of this book. If you are not reading it, it's 5 issues. It just ended. Grab the whole thing. I mean, Scott Snyder has never disappointed me. I can honestly say that. Like, he always nails it. And this is just another great entry. And I'm a huge Hayden Sherman art fan, and the two of them together, I hope they continue to do multiple series all the time, because Scott's intricate story weaving and Hayden's very detailed art that just kind of shifts around Scott's narratives is just such a perfect combination. And this is another great instance of that. And again, it's 5 issues. Grab all 5 issues. Just read the whole thing and just enjoy, because it's so good. And again, if you're like a true crime person, detective person, anything like that, and you're just looking for a good mystery that is going to just keep elevating, this is definitely one for you. And then lastly, in Picks of the Week, we have When I Arrived at the Castle from Emily Carroll and Silver Sprocket. This is a fantastic graphic novel, as per usual with Silver Sprocket. Again, something that never disappoints. This is very much for people who are fans of Gothic literature. If you are a fan of Elizabeth Bathory, this has very strong Elizabeth Bathory vibes, because it is all about a woman who is a vampire who lives inside of a castle on her own, and another woman comes to stay at the castle overnight and is like all other visitors, has come to see if she could kill the vampiress once and for all and end her cruel reign that seems to happen. And is that what happens? Is there something else that happens? You're going to have to read it to find out, but you're also going to just fall in love with this great work that Emily Carroll did, not only in her storytelling, but again, intricately weaving this art through the narrative. This is one of those where art and story could not independently stand away from each other. Like, they are so well done together that you find yourself falling into it, like with these perfect little mixtures of how paneling works, of where the words are. It actually goes from comic storytelling to prose at points, which is really, really cool. And I'm going to show you a page of that in just a second, because you get these really cool like moments like this of paneling where there is no paneling. It's just like this, the art itself leads the lines and breaks the pieces apart. And then from there, you jump into these full... gosh, I want to show you every page. It's just so good. Oh my God. I'm like flipping through it and I'm like, this isn't fair. I want to show you all of it. But then you flip to pages that are just complete stories. And they feel like, you almost feel like you're being taken out of the story, both because of the lack of art, but also because it turns into this like fable almost of the woman in the castle and what you're getting from it. And you're like, oh, where's this going? And then you kind of see how those things come into play with this story. And it's like, if it's one of those, like, if you don't read the prose that goes beside the comic, you're gonna miss the whole story, because the prose ends up being the key to the entire tale. And so even though each one feels like a separate little fairy tale that's mixed into it, you have to read them to get the whole story, and it actually moves it along. So it's like, hey, by the way, stop. Hold on, let me tell you this story really fast, like segue, sidebar, like I need to tell you this before we keep the story going. It's so fantastic. Emily did such a great job with the art, with the storytelling. I hope that we keep talking about this book for a really long time. It is definitely for mature audiences, and it is beautiful and gorgeous, and I just kind of want to read it again. So that's the Picks of the Week. That's all the books that came out this week. We're going to go through what else is in stock really fast to get you caught up for all the books that came out. So Star Wars High Republic issue 6. This is your third phase of High Republic that's out this week. Make sure you are catching up. There's always something going on in that. Suicide Squad Dream Team. This is by Nicole Maines, who played Dreamer. Is that the name? Oh. Yes, the new character on the Arrowverse, who is now writing the books in there. Speed Force, issue 6 from DC. This is your Flash connecting story for the Flash from the alternate Wally West. Outsiders, issue 6 from DC. We are really getting into the first wave of the stories from the dawn of DC, really starting to hit those first arcs, finishing up. Nottingham returns with issue 11 as a part of Mad Cave's 10-year anniversary. We've got a Jim Henson's Labyrinth. This is the archive edition of a 3-part series, a new story coming out to you for all of you Labyrinth fans that you'll want to grab. Invincible Iron Man issue 17 with another one of those Tomb of Dracula homage covers to get us ready for Blood Hunt coming soon. Carnage, issue 6, and this is part 4 of the Symbiosis Necrosis story that is going on across your symbiotic titles at Marvel. Red Hood, The Hill, issue 3, which of course is technically issue 4 because there was a 0 issue, but if you are a Red Hood fan, he is back in a story of his own right now, and I know we very rarely see enough of that. I don't have regular covers, so I'm just going to show you the blank cover of Rat City. This is a new Spawn title launching this week that introduced us to some new Spawn characters. What If Aliens, issue 2. If Marvel has aliens, eventually you got to do a what if with all your Marvel titles, and we are getting one right now with the aliens first. Batman Dylan Dog issue 2 for all of you fans of Batman and fans of Dylan Dog, the Italian comics character. You've always wondered what would happen if Dylan Dog existed in modern American comics. Now here's a chance. He is out there with Batman. Green Lantern issue 10. What is going on with Green Lantern right now? Here's how you find out. I know a lot of your lanterns are appearing in this series, and it's making everybody really happy. Fantastic Four issue 19, the continuation of this story that is going on, and this is the Masterpiece cover that has all those fun classic images on it. Hulk, the Incredible Hulk issue 11. I think that This is a series that continues to heat up for people. I'm still getting people coming in and yelling, oh my god, have you gotten into Hulk yet? It's so good. Darth Vader issue 45. We've got some more Star Wars coming your way with Thrawn Alliance issue 4. All you Thrawn fans, new book, you gotta get on. We've got Symbiote Spider-Man 2099 issue 2, and I believe, I don't know if it's the first appearance, but there was the second, the cover of, the variant cover of issue 2. I was going to see if he was actually in the story. The variant cover of issue 2 actually has a Spider-Punk, like a symbiote Spider-Punk on it, which was really cool. We've got Amazing Spider-Man issue 47, and we've got another one of our What If Disney character variants. So doing all those classic Marvel characters, Marvel covers with Disney characters, which is super cool. Sinister Sons issue 3. Did you know that General Zod had a kid? You're about to find out. This is Peter Tomasi, who gave you Super Sons, now giving you Sinister Sons, the sons of the bad guys. X-Men issue 33. The X-Men continue to go on and on. I don't even know if this is new this week. Actually, I think X-Men 97 was where this was. X-Men 97 was new this week. It is out. It's gone. TMNT Best of Alopex is out. This is your one-shot best of. I love these Biggie covers that are always so cool. And I mean, Alopex is getting a cover. Or getting a whole best of. This is super cool. And then we've got some trade paperbacks in stock. We've got Caped Fear. This is Superhuman Horror Stories. There's an introduction by Mark Waid. These are just random superheroes you've never heard of, getting some really cool stories, so check that out. We've got the Infield Gang Massacre. This is Chris Condon and Jacob Phillips bringing us a side story in the That Texas Blood universe. And they actually, what I love is they kept the paper, that newsprint kind of paper, inside the trade as well, which is fantastic. You could not have done this story on any other kind of paper. It needs to have that feel and that smell. It's perfect for your old Western story. Honestly, if you did not read this, grab this right now. I loved this, and to have the whole thing in one really thick trade paperback is fantastic. We've got Spawn Unwanted Violence. If you are just looking for some more Spawn, this is going to have issues 1 and 2 of the Unwanted Violence mini that came out. And then we've got the new international printing of The Watchmen, because it's so cool. There's always new printings of literally like the most sold graphic novel of all time. And I wonder if that's still true with Dogman selling so many copies. I want to see the numbers of Watchmen versus Dogman. Honestly and truthfully. But it's such a cool new cover. I'm so excited about it. If you've never read Watchmen, here's a chance to get a new version of it. So check that out. Again, there's a lot going on this week. Don't miss out. Tomorrow we've got our Digital Lizards of Doom cool activity day. We're going to have a Zoom call in from Gabriel Valentin at 4 o'clock. He's going to be talking about using your imagination and learning some cool things and what it's like to make comics. You can come in and talk to him, ask your questions via Zoom for the kiddos. And then we're going to play some games. That's from 4 to 5:36, depending on when the kids finish playing their games. I'm going to show you the inside of this because I think the art on this book is wild. And you've got to see like the craziness that is like the Digital Lizards of Doom book. It is insane. We are focusing on volume 1, I believe. Volume 2 may already be out or is coming really, really soon, so I'm really excited about it. But if you haven't, we're going to be reading from it. We're going to be playing games from it. We're going to be talking to Gabriel. It's going to be a lot of fun. Gabriel's fantastic, so I can't wait. So join us tomorrow at 4. We're opening just for this event. So if you've got kiddos and you've always been like, I want to go to Bad City on a Monday, guess what? Just bring your kids, and you can, because kids get to come in tomorrow, and adults can join them. Thank you to our friends at Mad Cave and Paper Cuts for setting that up for us tomorrow. It's going to be fantastic. Don't forget, we also have so many more events coming this week. You're not going to want to miss them. We've got Hunt, Kill, Repeat, Fresh Shot Book Club. We've got Ladies and Non-Binary Nerd Night is on this Thursday. I don't even think I mentioned that earlier. We will be at Imagine North Manatee for their Comic-Con on Saturday, the 20th, coming up this week from 10 to 3. And then make sure we will be at the Marauders game on Wednesday and on Friday. So this Wednesday is Education Day during the day at the Marauders, but this Friday is Women in Sports Night at the Marauders. So come help us celebrate Friday night Women in Sports. It's going to be fantastic. It's also Kids Club night, so bring the kiddos. It's going to be fun. And then next Wednesday, make sure you're here April 24th. We are going to have from 3:30 to 7:30 the launch of Dick Tracy #1 and the incredible Adrian Prudhomme and Austin McKinley signing the Bat City exclusive. Make sure you don't miss it. It's going to be awesome. Check out our Facebook and our Instagram to find all of those events and more because there's so much going on this month. I'll forget it all, but make sure you're here because it's going to be a blast. We will see you tomorrow with all the fun for Digital Lizards of Doom. And if not, we're going to see you all week long for tons of incredible events. Happy 10-year anniversary to Mad Cave, and happy reading to all of you. Bye, everyone.